You also talk a lot about wanting your comedy to be evergreen, so someone can watch a skit 20 years from now.
Yeah, my favorite comedy is, right now in the States, as I'm sure you're all aware, people are very angry, and so I almost feel like comedy has gone in two completely directions. There are people that have been, it's all about politics. The entire show is politics. And so when you see the roundup for what they talked about, it's blank took down Donald Trump today. So-and-so roasted, this person in the administration. It's all that, and some of it's very clever and very good, but it's all that. And then there's another kind of comedy which is completely escapist. Let's play games, let's have fun. And then I feel like I just found my own thing that I like, which is really silly comedy that I've been doing since 1993, where I'm doing the show and maybe someone interrupts me and it's an old coal miner in the audience, and then we have an adventure together, and it doesn't make any sense. It's not linked to anything. We use puppets. I love puppets. I love any stuffed animal that's objecting to something that I've done. I love comedy that just makes me laugh and is silly. And then I think one of the things that's nice is I have people your age coming up to me now, and they're saying, "Oh, I just saw that thing last night where you were, God only knows, you got on a bicycle and you drove up a caramel mountain and you visited God, and it was so silly and stupid and it meant nothing, but I really liked it." And I'll think, wait a minute, we made that in 1994 or 1995. We had a very popular character on the show for a couple of years called the Masturbating Bear, and it was a bear in a diaper that just masturbated on cue. I'm sorry, but those are the things you talk about when you invite me. And you want to talk economics, we'll do that next time, but this is what you get. But it was just the silliness of it and the craziness of it that I love so much. And so we're still finding people that come back and see those old sketches and really like them. And I like them because you don't have to know. It's not comedy that goes bad 24 hours after you make it, because the outrage over that decision to cut that item in the budget doesn't make sense 24 hours after you've said it. But a bear masturbating is always good comedy.
So, like you said, you don't react to political and current affairs as much as other.
Well, we do. We do if we have a good, silly, fun idea, but I try not to live off of it exclusively. I try to. So everyone has their own way of doing these things. There's not a right way, and there's not a wrong way. There's just the most important thing I say to people who are interested in doing what I do for a living is do the stuff that you are passionate about. And I've always been passionate about silliness. And the stuff that influenced me, I was very influenced by English comedy growing up. I loved Monty Python. I loved Blackadder. I loved The Young Ones. I would watch all these shows. And then, I saw the British Office came out. And I just love that those are still funny now. They're talking about universal themes, and to me, that's the kind of comedy that I love. It's completely silly, and it's dealing with human situations rather than here's what happened in the news today, which I admire. I think it's really great. I just don't think that's my skill set.
And something else that you always come back to is that really successful people are often a lot more insecure about their work than we would expect them to be.
Yeah.
How does that work for you? Well,
I'm not, but blessed, I suppose. No, it's actually it's really important to me. If you leave with no other little, if you leave with nothing else today or tonight, leave with this. We have a culture that's constantly looking at our phones at people that we think are so incredibly happy and have everything. And I will tell you for a fact, the disparity, the difference between what they're projecting and how they are is monumental a lot of the time. It's not that these people are all miserable, but I do think we're this Instagram age and this age of projecting wealth and fame and this incredible fun that you can have. There's a lot of people out there that strive because they're insecure. They try harder because they're running from something or they're very unhappy. It's not the only reason they're successful, but it's a mixed bag. And when you get successful, there's some unpleasant stuff that comes with it. And there's dealing with envy, and there's dealing with schadenfreude, and there's dealing with other people's expectations that you're always going to be that person. And I wouldn't trade my life for anyone else's in the world. I'm very happy, but I do think I've seen so many people in my profession, American performers, actors, comedians, who I wouldn't want to be in a million years. They're unhappy people. And there's a lot of unhappy people, just as there are everywhere. And I think we get this bad read. We're only seeing this very flattened out image of them laughing and driving a sports car, and we think, if I had that, all my problems would be solved. And I remember thinking that, when I was first starting out in the business, if I had what these people had, then I would have no problems. And that's why I really do try to tell people that you've got to enjoy what you do. You have to enjoy it. And there's so many people that want to be famous for fame's sake, and fame is nothing. I mean, it is just a clear broth. It doesn't add much flavor. It doesn't have any nutritional value. I can go with this broth analogy forever. If you put meat in it for a long time, that meat will soften. Fame is high in salt. I just encourage people to look twice at that and say, I do what I do because I really do enjoy it. I really do like making this kind of stuff, and I felt like I had some facility for it, but I never enjoyed the brief periods of time that someone on the paparazzi has wanted to take a picture of me. It just felt creepy. It felt, and they eventually realized I'm the most boring person in the world, and that their pictures of Conan O'Brien goes and buys 2% milk again, wearing sensible outfit with dad bod was like not selling, I had a funny experience here a couple of years ago. I was in London, and a friend, I didn't know this place, but a friend said to me, join me for dinner. And I said, okay. And he said, I'm at the Chiltern Firehouse. I didn't know what that was, but I guess it's this place where a lot of stars go. What's that? You don't go there all the time?
I don't know.
Well, okay, clearly I've just made a fool of myself in front of everyone. But there was this place in London, this restaurant where the paparazzi would hang out in front. We have them in LA, and you go there if you want your picture taken. I didn't know that. So I just go in, and then I eat my dinner, and I come out, and it's all these people from all these UK paparazzi with the giant, And they walk out, and I think one guy sort of knew me and took a picture, so they all started taking pictures, and there was like 40 people just firing away photos. And so I did this, And then I started to walk away, and they all put their cameras down, and one of them said, hey, who the fuck are you? I said, this is true. I said, I'm a male model from Germany. But I love that they took a picture of me, didn't know who I was, and they were yelling at me, essentially because I wasn't famous enough, It was just such a weird dynamic. I had wasted their time. So.
On another note, following on from that.
There was no transition there at all. We're going to have to edit that for YouTube. We'll put something else in there, Maybe some rock music or something. AC/DC.
What's your attitude?
What's what?
What's your attitude to criticism of your work? Do you try to seek it out, or are you someone who tries to?
No, I do not seek out criticism of my work. No. That's one of the things that always surprises me is I've had guests come on the show, very famous people, and they've confided in me, after my last appearance, people said this about me or said that. I actually had a guest come on my show and in the commercial break say to me, last time I was on, people were saying, this was a man, people were saying that I had had terrible plastic surgery, and it really hurt my feelings, and I haven't had plastic surgery. Why would they write that? Well, this is in the commercial break. And I said to this person, why are you reading that? Why would anyone can write anything? Why would you read that? And there is something in this new world that you're all dealing with. I'm quite comfortable not knowing what people say about me. People have said and my deal that I made with myself is I don't want to read the bad stuff, and so I won't read the good stuff. And I'm told there's been some really nice things written in some really nice publications, and I just say, that's nice to hear, and people give me this sort of gist of what it is, but I don't want to read it. Because if I read that, then I feel I have to go looking for, well, I hate him, his hair looks like a ridiculous pastry, my father wrote that. I don't want to, that's one of the questions that I have is when people start looking for, it is in my nature. I will find the unsmiling face in the crowd and wonder, what was his problem? Why wasn't he having a good time? And that is classic. All comedians do that. But as you get older, you learn that way lies madness. No good will come of that. None. So I know what it is I do. I have really good friends, and my friends tell me that wasn't great, or that was funny, that wasn't so funny. I would change that. I mean, I write a tweet and I say, what do you think? And I have interns in the office saying, nope, it's bad. And I listen to them. I listen to other people. And sometimes I get into arguments with people. I think, really? Because I think this is a good idea. But I try not to have an ego about it. And so people usually let me know when I've missed the mark. I'll know. So I don't need a random person, who's or a troll to tell me that I suck, because deep down I know that. That's not funny. You should feel sad now.
You mentioned taking on board the advice of your interns, and part of what makes your show stand out is your relationship with your staff and how that's woven into so many episodes.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious production choice, or was it something that happened spontaneously?
There's the most famous, he was completely unknown in the UK, but the most famous talk show host of all time in America was this guy named Johnny Carson, who I grew up watching. He's brilliantly funny, and and everybody watched him. I mean, the entire country watched Johnny Carson. And what he said once is, he was on the air for 30 years, and no one had ever done that. No one had ever been on the air for 30 years. And he said once, you'll end up using everything you have. Meaning, if you've got any kind of skill or any kind of ability or anything up your sleeve, you will end up using it. And I've found that to be true. You end up using whatever is available to you when you have to do so much TV. So when there's so much product, you end up trying anything. And it's like we're working in a bakery and we have to be open 24/7. You'll end up trying stuff like, I'll just throw a carrot in there and see what it'll sound, broth, if you will. And you end up trying things, and that's what we ended up doing. And our staff is there, and my assistant is this personality, and we were doing tons of hours of comedy without even realizing it. We have these long, insane conversations with each other, and then we realized, wait a minute, what if we put a camera on this? And the interesting thing about Sona, my assistant, if you've seen any of this stuff on YouTube, she doesn't change. She's always she is the same person. You can put a camera on her. You could put her in Wembley Stadium and have 75,000 people stare at her. She'll still act like Sona and then want to go get a grilled cheese sandwich afterwards, and go home to her husband. She's just that person. So we started using those people, and it's added a whole other layer. We ended up realizing we have this great resource, so we might as well use it. And we don't want to overdo it, but some of these people, I have a guy that works for me named Jordan Schlansky, who is, the idea that in this great historic hall that has seen like Churchill and Einstein and Malcolm X, the idea that the name Jordan Schlansky would be mentioned and get a round of applause is such a cosmic joke to me. It's such proof that there's ultimately, it's a silly world we live in. He is that guy. He is that person. He's this weird, strange guy. I honestly don't know what he does on the show. Every time I ask him, he says, I have various tasks and duties. I'm like, what does that mean? Well, I attend to various, he keeps saying various, and then throwing other words in there, and I honestly don't know what he does. So we're very excited because, do you guys know the Property Brothers, those guys? Is that big over here? I don't know if you guys know them, but his office is a mess, and we brought these two huge YouTube stars in and surprised him with the Property Brothers. And they're these big stars, and we walk in, and I go, Jordan, look who's here to clean up your office. Doesn't even get up. Looks at them, and I went, Jordan, when people walk into the room, especially famous people, you should probably stand. And he went, their fame is of no consequence to me. They can come or they can leave. You know, just like he doesn't, we just surprised him with cameras. He had no idea we were coming. Most humans would react a little bit. I see no reason to stand for these people, you know. It's fascinating. He's a weird, weird man, and we're maybe, I hope we're advancing the cure for something by putting him on TV. 'Cause